welcome to Barefoot TV and podcast show. This is your monthly show that provides you with wisdom for your journey, clarity on your path, and support to manifest your dreams. I'm your host, Leanne, the Barefoot Medium. I'm an international medium who is absolutely blessed to act as the bridge to connect you and your loved ones who've passed over so you can feel their presence and receive messages of support, joy, and love. I'm also a twin flame, and my guest today will also share some of that with you as well, no doubt, who supports individuals and couples to step into conscious relationship and sacred union with self, partner, family, friends, and the divine by providing guidance around love, relationships, intimacy, as well as practical tools to help you embody and align with the love that you truly are and walk your sacred path, whatever that looks like, sounds like, and feels like for you. I'm also a transformational coach and support people to work with the universal energies by looking into their soul mirror to experience powerful shifts, transformations, and change so you can confidently manifest the vision for your life that your soul needs, wants, and desires. Kick off your shoes, relax, and enjoy this month's episode of Barefoot TV and podcast show, where I am joined by my beautiful friend and colleague, Claire Kelly, who is going to discuss with us today Soul Retrieval. Now, Claire is a shamanic healer and internationally certified MBIT coach who works with clients in the areas of love, business, and health. Claire is previously known as the Love Doctor and initially started out doing love readings for clients before being drawn into deeper healing modalities to help clients break through subconscious patterns that are holding them back. Now, Claire combines many of her different techniques and styles that she's collected and learnt along the journey in her healing and private coaching practices, as well as draws upon her experience in media, business, and professional sport to provide a truly unique balance that combines the practical with the spiritual. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, Leanne. Thanks for having me on this show. It's funny, even talking about the Love Doctor, you know, we used to joke and it was like the Love Doctor. So no matter what I do, it's still the Love Doctor's, you know, it's part of my my initiation, but it's great to be here on the show, and I'm excited to talk about this.
Yeah.
It's
and I
such a
love
big
having
topic
you
right
come
now.
on the show. It's, you know, our conversations always weave some beautiful, amazing magic for people who are listening and watching. So thank you.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit first about, you know, if you can tell people a little bit about your journey. First, that would be great. A little bit about your background and your journey of how you've gotten to where you are today.
Well, I suppose we kind of have to start, and this ties into the whole topic of soul loss and soul trauma, or which then is the soul retrieval. So I had I think I was maybe 19, I can't remember if I was 19 or 21, and I got hit by a Mack truck. And I had an out-of-body experience, but at the time of the accident, I actually accepted that I was dead. I accepted that my life was finished, it was over. And at that point that I accepted, I literally left my body, like my soul left my physical body. And I remember just like looking down at the car. I could see my car doing a 360, it was like an eagle eye view. And it was like slow motion, like from the Matrix, like when the glass goes past, and it was just like, woo, everything was in slow-mo. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of connection and wholeness. And then all of a sudden, boom, I was like back in my body, and there was a guy knocking on my window, and I just remember coming back into my awareness, feeling my toes, my feet, just like, what's happened? Oh, I'm still here. I can move my hands. And I remember I turned my head and looked at the guy and wound down my window, and he's like, are you okay? You've just been sitting there like with your eyes open, just not you know.
Mm.
And that was my first kind of wake up call, or my first experience with the body, and then our being and our soul energy. And it was only years later that I realized that was an example of where I'd had soul loss. So it's almost like I'd experienced, a blackout or a loss of memory, or something had happened where you're out of the body, or you leave the body to cope with the situation. At the time, I couldn't cope with the reality of what was happening. And so I left my body, without meaning to. It wasn't like I was like, oh, let's go have a out of body experience. It happened by boom, just because of the situation. And after that, I kind of got a little bit obsessed with, I can't remember if I was 19 or 21, but the semantics. But I started reading up about people that had out of body experiences or near death experiences. And that was really when my interest in spiritual works kind of began. And it just led me into this journey of reading up about, life on the other side and reincarnation. And it just started to open up these doors for me. And it was really then I started opening up more to meditation, and I was playing sport, and it just led me deeper and deeper into the path of spirituality. I got connected with different teachers, obviously the amazing Jason McDonald, Ethan Soul, and all these incredible teachers that were recognizing, we're not just this physical being. We've got this soul, we've got this spirit as well. But a lot of us might deny that aspect of us. But as I kind of progressed on, I started getting stronger messages. After I'd finished playing, pro sport, I came back and I've been working in a corporate job, and I just kept getting these visions of, something else, or there was more to my life. And I asked the universe to show me what I should be doing and what I'd receive. And that was when I had the first big vision of, I was like in a big circle, and it was like we were pulling this energy out of people, and then people were coming to me and thanking them, for what I was doing. And I didn't know at the time what that meant or what that was. I just knew that it was something around working with energy, something around with the body. That was when Love Doctor got born. I was shown the tarot. So it's been this big spiritual journey. And each time it's like I've been led to a person, or I've been led to a sacred site that then even more has unlocked for me on the journey. And the real beginning, I think, of really starting to understand the energy of soul loss, or what soul loss was really about, was when I went to Hawaii. And I ended up doing a trip to Mauna Kea, which is a sacred site in Hawaii. And halfway coming back down the mountain, I had visions of, sorry, it's making me cry even talking about it, the war and all the lives that have been lost in Hawaii from the war. And I just had to drop to my knees and beg the mountain for forgiveness for the sins of my ancestors and all these lives lost. And that was, that was kind of at the point where I was thinking of going back into corporate, and it was like the mountain and the land was like, this is just the beginning of your journey. This is the beginning of your path. What are you talking about? Yeah. And that was when I started doing prayers to the mountains, and that was years ago. And then fast forward, I get drawn to learn about soul retrieval work and shamanic journeying, and then my friend in Canada teaches me how to do prayers to work with the land and the mountains, but also recognizing the lives that have been lost, and really understanding what is soul loss. Actually, it's all those people that have had the land taken away from them. It's all those people that have lost, the lives of their loved ones. It is those people that have been in situations where they've had their power taken away from it early on, or even before they were born. And that, to me now, shamanism is so much a bigger picture than what I even realized. But in the short version, the soul retrievals,
I might pause you a minute and go, let's come to soul retrieval in a sec, because there's so much really awesome, amazing stuff in there.
Yeah.
That I want to kind of pull out a little bit if I can.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So first thing, you and I've had a similar journey around that soul loss from a younger age, in terms of when I was, I think, 10, my parents took my sister and I on a trip around Australia, pulled us out of school for a year. And during that, we were in a car accident as well, where the car flipped three or four times, and had a similar experience to you as a spiritual being. I was aware that I was suddenly outside of the vehicle, looking back in at my family in the car, and I just had this insight and this awareness of, I actually don't know how I got out.
Yeah.
I don't actually recall that.
You couldn't remember.
And the funny thing is, a few years later, my insight was because I got pulled out by spirit guides, loved ones, whoever it is you want to call it, because my journey wasn't over yet as a soul. And so I kind of want to bring that in for a minute and then go, you talked a little bit about, some of us are aware that we're a soul in a physical body, and others are not. And what that means, which brings in the soul loss, the soul trauma, or the, where you then step into how do we go back and retrieve that energy or heal that or transform that, whatever it is. And we'll get you to talk about that in a second. Talk to me first about, we're in some really weird and strange times, right?
Yeah.
And talk to me first about what are all the different ways we might be able to experience soul loss or soul trauma. What is that, just
like
give me
what
a
would
couple
that
of
look like?
Yeah, what does that look like for people in their everyday lives? Does that make sense?
It would look like, it could be someone losing a job very quickly, and or someone losing a loved one. And not even being coherent. I remember a friend of mine, he accidentally ran over his dog, like there in the car, and right then he just went into shock, So it's like people are conscious, but they're not fully present in their body, their energy, they've left, they're in shock, So it could be any situation like that. Also, it could even be things like, I don't really want to talk about that, but people that are doing that kind of thing, like hurting themselves. There might be some guilt around that. So it's healing around that, forgiveness in the body around that. They're probably the bigger things. That's happening with people right now. And the loss of, and not even being able to go to see our loved ones, not being able to go see our grandparents or our little nephews or whatever. Like, that's actually really tough for people. And that's, our power being taken. It can be your power taken away. There's different versions of it. That's, for me, that's my personal understanding of what soul loss can show up like, especially at the moment.
Yeah, and I think the reason I asked that was to put it in a little bit of context for people in terms of the spiritual versus the physical world. If you don't have awareness, it's, really what you're saying is anything that triggers that emotional reaction or response within you. It might be a breakdown in a relationship.
Absolutely.
It might be the loss, the passing of a loved one. It might just be unresolved emotional stuff that sits there that you haven't had the space to deal with, right?
Absolutely. And it can be powerlessness as well, right? Which is now, because that's the victim energy, we're in that powerlessness energy. And so that the soul retrievals are about bringing your power back, bringing your energy back from a situation. And so, or bringing back the aspects of your soul that might be stuck from that situation. So with a relationship, for example, maybe it was an abusive relationship, it was a toxic relationship, and that there was a pattern there. And so you'd be pulling the energy back on that, so that you don't come from that connection with someone. You're coming from a more empowered place and a more a stronger sense. But often we might not even realize that we've experienced soul loss. And it's a tough one, because as we go through our life, we could actually have a number of experiences that happens, and before we know it, we don't feel like ourselves anymore. And why is that? It's, you know, and you said it's like, well, the soul in the body, you know, Sarah, one of my mentors, she might question that. She said, well, is it our soul, the body, are we in the body, or is the body within our soul? You know, like, so that's a really interesting perspective, because it's like, well, are we this linear being, or are we actually this really expanded, conscious, like amazing, you know? And so even just that awareness that we are connected as part of the whole. So yeah, it's a separation, really. The soul loss is a separation of fragments of our self, that, or a soul that have been stuck in the past, and whether that's this life or another life, or from, you know, deep injustices to our tribe or to our ancestors. There can be soul loss on an ancestral level as well, right?
Yeah. And, you know, thank you for bringing that up, because, you know, we are on the physical planet, right? And you and I both have awareness of some of the Indigenous beliefs around how we work with the earth. And, you know, you spent time in Peru, and I've spent time in Colombia, and, you know, our earth can be, and our physical environment can be a huge reflection of what's going on with ourselves,
so much,
and the global population, right?
So much.
So, you know, a lot of people like yourself and me and other people who work with spiritual energy, or even just healers, nurses, doctors, whatever it might be, you know, we're really working hard at the moment to support other people to look at, you know, how can we support you, and hold, like, I'm almost seeing us holding people's hands as they walk this really challenging time of, you know, loss on a global level in whatever way, shape or form you're experiencing that. So thank you for bringing that in, and for bringing in the different layers and levels that can sit at, depending on where your belief systems are at, right?
Absolutely. And it's the spiritual beliefs, and you know, there's a huge, you know, a lot of the problems or the challenges at the moment as well, for people that the Indigenous cultures, they would have sacred ceremonies. They've got these beautiful, you know, prayer things that they do. And so there's also been, you know, enforcement to try and break up some of these really sacred rituals. Who is someone else to say, well, this is more important, than our beliefs are better than yours, and my religion's better than yours, and you don't get to do that, but you can do that. And so we're seeing also soul loss on that level, and that's where the ceremonies. I was actually a bit excited, because I saw in Canada, you know, some of the tribes, they were no, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our prayer, and we're going to do our 3-day ritual. But there was a real clash, because the government was trying to crack that down. But they're like, hey, these are our laws, this is our land. And so what we're seeing here is, you know, people coming back to almost their, what do I really believe in? What's important to me? And am I prepared to give up? What am I prepared to give up right now? But also recognize that there are lives, you know, people who, we do have older people that people that are afraid, but how can I still respect my values, what's important to me, in a way that leaves me empowered, that is going to be me empowered? And am I in fear right now, or am I in love? And we're also seeing a lot of people in fear energy right now, and what we need is love and compassion, you know, for everyone. Not just one person in this race, that country, everyone.
And I want to bring that back to that comment you made about separation, because you know, the reality is that we do live in a space of duality, right?
Totally.
Where there's, you know, law of balance, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever you believe in, yin and yang, or karma, or however you want to call that. You know, we've got the energy of love and compassion and kindness and respect and honor and peace, and it's that beautiful light space, right? And then we've got that heaviness of the fear and the
shadow,
anger and the frustration and the stuck and the confused and the, oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, And I want to just say for those who are listening or watching, both of those are okay.
Absolutely.
And if you find yourself in that space of the heaviness, the fear, the loss,
yeah,
or the separation from, the love that you are, really,
yeah,
then just acknowledge it and accept it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like giving it a big cuddle, right?
Yeah. It's because it's embracing
and giving it that compassion.
Yeah, and it's also from an embed perspective or from the head, heart, gut perspective. The sympathetic state and the parasympathetic state, we can switch between two. We want to be in the middle. We want to be in balance and homeostasis, which is essentially everything that a lot of healers and light workers, and we're trying to get people back into balance in themselves, right? When we're in a stress state, that's sympathetic. When we're like really detached and we're cold and we're caring, that's parasympathetic. And so with this situation, it's natural to go between. So how can we be in compassion when there's so much anger going on? And then, so a lot of people are switching between the two. And that's where the breath work's coming in. That's where being out in nature, that's where certain things we can do can help us be in that space. But a lot of people are judging if they're in anger, or they're like, oh, well, I should be out there exercising like everyone else is online and doing this, and I'll use this time to improve myself. But some people are going, come on, are you kidding me? Like, I just, it's like there's a real lack of awareness and compassion sometimes for other people and what they're going through. Hey, that's great that you're doing well. Great for you, but what about all these people that are in situations that aren't doing so well, that aren't lucky enough to have a roof over their heads, or to have people that care about them that will actually check in on them, make sure, or actually be able to go physically isolate and visit someone. And that's where my gut brain's going, but I've got to go, it's okay, it's cool, you're allowed to be passionate, you're allowed to, but just use that energy in a positive way.
Exactly. And it brings my psychology background in a little bit as well, with I've just seen my guides show me Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And I want to throw that in for people who are listening, because, in the real world context, if we remove that spiritual aspect, it's the same thing. And I just want to put that concept there. At the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy is our basic needs for shelter, air, food, water, and clothes on our back, right? And, if we're not in a space where we have those needs being met, we can't move up to that next hierarchy, which is about joy and fun and, some of those other things. And even if we did, we come back to that first layer.
Or you're grounded. Do you know what I mean? You can't sustain it. You're like brought back very, very quickly.
Exactly.
No, you need to focus right now.
You do, right? And so, I love that you brought that in, and, it is about finding that position of neutrality, isn't it? And going, how can I find a neutral space with what's going on for myself or for others? And that's where we can find that energy of compassion. But what I want to do, because we've stepped into shifting and clearing and talking a bit about healing, tell me how, or share with people if you can, how does soul retrieval work from an energy healer's perspective? Tell me a little bit about that process and how it can support people to deal with some of that emotional trauma or soul loss.
Well, I suppose the best way to put it is, it's like if you've lost something, and you've lost something that's really important to you, and then someone helps you find it, and someone helps you bring it back. And it doesn't mean that you can have the intention to bring stuff back yourself. You can do the journey work yourself. You can do those things, and you can have that intention to do your own soul retrievals through journey work. But it is that simple. It's like someone finding, hey, this belongs to you. Here it is back, and it's better than it was. It's actually, bring the energy back. So, for example, in a situation of maybe someone was abused, for example, and their energy before that was innocence and purity and belief, and then they don't have that. That's gone once that situation. And so then to have that belief restored, it can change your life. It can change
Yeah.
relationships. If you don't believe in love or trust, to have that actually coming back into your energetic space, because it's an energy thing, it's a game changer. And to have that energy, literally feeling your energy, it's just that simple. I don't feel like myself. Since that, I've never felt like myself. All of a sudden, boom, wow, okay, now I'm ready to move forward. Now I'm ready to take action. I'm actually ready to date again, or I'm ready to do that career, that job that I was so scared about before. I'm not scared of that anymore. Because it can even be further back. It might be, so for example, in my family, I had a healer. I can't remember if it was my great grandma, but she used to read the big, what do you call it, the crystal balls?
Crystal balls.
Yeah, crystal ball. But she got punished for that. She got judged for that. So on a soul level, there was some element of me being, done over or getting chastised for being a psychic. And for so long, I didn't want to tell people that I was a psychic. I wouldn't even go out and I'd tell people, you're a psychic. I wouldn't tell people because I'd get judged, or I felt like and so then when you do healing on a deeper level, whatever's in someone's background or their life or before that, it can be so profound, because it can be a block or a soul loss from something years before, lifetimes before, that you might not even know about, or you might know about it, but it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I know that it doesn't make sense for me I know that's, but on an energetic level, if you actually got your ass thrown in jail for doing something that was important to you, it might make sense why you might not want to do it,
Yeah. And it's really interesting. And I'm kind of going to throw in a couple of things here that, loss of relationship, for example, and I've got a couple of clients who are going through similar experiences, and, I've been there, done that before as well. When you have a sudden, loss around relationship, whether it's betrayal, dishonesty, hurt, whatever, jealousy, whatever comes up in amongst that.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes you by surprise.
Absolutely.
Right? Then you do go into that state of shock and maybe questioning yourself and your worthiness, and so there's all these things that are attached to it, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
And there may be a part of that process of letting that relationship go where there's a loss of a home, a loss of financial resources, a loss of, and for men, loss of seeing kids in amongst that space sometimes,
and
right?
trust as well, if you trusted someone.
And I didn't see this coming. Why, and it really comes back to, why didn't I trust myself? If you've got good intuition and you felt something was off, right? We've all had those moments as well, and that's part of the journey. So there's that's kind of come up just to share and go, that might be something that, you may keep trying to move forward and heal and, get yourself into a beautiful, amazing space and move into a new relationship, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But there might be those patterns, right, that keep playing and, you go round in circles and feel like, why do I keep creating this? Why do I keep getting the same situation, whether it's betrayal or whatever?
Yeah.
There's probably something on that soul level, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That needs clearing. So, just to give people a bit of awareness about how that journey might help.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And, Claire and I have both worked with energy and soul and spirit and all of that for such a long time. And, we both go to our own people when we need to move through our own energy stuff and do our own healing and clearing, right? And, I've been fortunate enough to have a beautiful soul retrieval session with Claire, and I would highly recommend it to anyone that's watching or listening. And it's almost like you just get on, a massage table, you lay down, you close your eyes, and you go into this beautiful state of calmness and peace, just like a meditation. You don't need to do anything.
No.
Right? And so I just want people to know that that's part of the process of allowing someone else to support you to clear and call back that trust energy or that peace energy or that love or joy that, or support or security or stability, whatever it might be, that you feel you lost from that trauma.
And
right?
people might not know, we usually don't know what the essence is that we've lost or the part of us. But, you know, I was almost raped when I was 15. And for a long time, it really affected me with relationship. I was so scared to be intimate with anyone. I was so scared, even guys that I really liked. And I had to do a lot of healing on that. But I didn't realize for a long time, hey, actually, this is why you really, it's not because they're not nice guys. It was because of a situation where I had actually, you know, freaked out, and I'd left my body temporarily, and then I kind of came back, or the opposite, I was fighting, you know, for my body. So we often might not know what the situation it is, but as soon as people have the intention or book in, often they'll get memories coming up, or they'll get visions or flashbacks of and they go, oh, I haven't thought about that person for years. Okay, right, there's something come. Because when you set the intention with the sessions, that's, for me, I'll start getting messaging, and you know, it's, as you know, it's like a 3-day process at least for me. I have to start the fasting before, so that my energy is in the right state to journey, and it is a pretty amazing process. And then even afterwards, the soul retrieval is just the first part. Then it's the integration afterwards. Then it's the receiving of the energy and allowing things to come in. So then you don't even, like who I am now compared to who I was 3-5 years ago, I'm a completely different person. And it's so much because I've had that intention through the plant medicine, through the soul retrieval, through the journey work, that now I can say, wow, who am I going to be in 6 months? You know, who am I going to be in a year? I don't know. But it's exciting because it's like more and more of my energy and my wisdom coming back. And I remember the first time I did a plant medicine ceremony in the jungle. So when they do the soul retrieval set in plant medicine, certain retreats, they will do soul retrievals as part of the ceremony. So they sing, they use the medicine. It's a sacred process, 100, you know, the whole lineage, you know. And so the first night I was there, they did soul retrieval on me, and it was all of a sudden the plants were like, where have you been? We've been waiting for you. Like, we've been waiting. And I just cried and cried and cried. And I can't explain, my personal experience is completely different to someone else, but it was like I'd come home, and it was like my jungle, it was like home. And how can that, I don't know what's going to happen for a person because of a soul retrieval. All I know is from my own experience, the more that I've done the work and the more that I've allowed myself to receive the energy coming back, and whatever, when I've been drawn to work with a shaman or a healer or the plants, it's just blown me away by then what memories come back. And you can have energy coming back. I had energy coming back from being on the mountains. I had energy coming back from being in ceremony, from doing the work with my shamans. And it can be as simple as someone even apologizing to us. Then that can, you know, like even with Australia, with Indigenous Australia, with the, you know, the stolen generation, for years they just wanted an apology. That was it. And because there was no apology given, there was no acknowledgement that had even happened. So the soul retrievals are also about acknowledging on a soul level or a physical level, hey, that happened and that's okay. But you know what? You don't need to stay stuck there. What can we do now to have your healing and move forward so that we can be healed, that you can step into empowerment, you know?
And I just want to let people know, you know, and I know what your work is. And when you talk about plant medicine, a lot of people don't really get that. And I know that from your own experiences, there's been some people in your world, let's say, that haven't really got that. And
that's totally
totally okay. But I just wanted to kind of pick up on that and share with people what that means is, you know, think about our Indigenous peoples before us, right? Go back into, you know, the Incans, the Mayans, the Australian Indigenous people are one of the oldest Indigenous communities in the world, right? And so before we had manufacturers of pharmaceuticals or whatever, where do you think the medicines came from. They came from the plants. They
They're all for
came
plants.
from
All
the
for
earth,
plants.
right?
Yeah.
And so what the shamanic path from, just
Yeah.
to put it in a bit of context for people, is about going back to those roots of the indigenous peoples and going, you know what, here's the energy I want to work with.
Yeah.
And here's, each
Natural.
of those plants have their own vibration, their own energy. And, science tells us that everything has energy.
Yes.
So
Well, science
why can't
acknowledged that. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Right. So I think, and I'm not great on science, but I think it was Einstein that said, everything is made up of energy. So a plant is made up of energy.
Oh, yeah.
As well as us, right?
Yeah.
And so why can't we tap into the positive energy that they bring us?
Well, we can.
Yeah.
And that's
for others to have a little bit of questioning on that, right?
Yeah, well, from what I know, and I'm only still pretty new on the Shipibo path, but the shamans believe that every plant has a spirit, every plant has an energy, and that plant might have something and they have the light and the dark sides, like all of us, right? But then they learn how to work with those plants for healing and the energy of that for healing. And that's, so it's not just something we take, it's actually that plant has like a living energy, and it's such a different, just a completely different approach, that it's not just this one part, you can just take this and then it's going to heal. It's actually, no, well, what else is going on behind the sickness? Why are you really sick? What's really underneath that? Oh, okay. Oh, this is the symptoms of the disease, but there's an energetic thing. And so the soul retrievals also can help you pull back energy. Again, physical symptoms, from my body mind understanding, they can manifest in a lot of ways, and the soul retrievals, they can help restore balance on an energy level, and then that might affect you. So for example, again, going back to if someone's had physical abuse, they might put on extra weight from a body mind perspective to protect themselves. And I think it's shown even in the communities where there is a lot of sexual abuse, there's a really big obesity rates. Now, from the body mind psychosomatic perspective, it's all protection on the base chakra, the sacral, because to keep people away so they don't have to feel. And so if you actually went back and pulled the energy back, people, not to say that people could lose weight, but it's actually understanding that the body is always trying to show us, hey, you need to pay attention to this. You need to pay attention to the situation or that event that you're trying to pretend didn't happen, or you don't acknowledge happen. And it really is an amazing tool if you look at the body and why am I getting sick now? What's really going on here? Well, actually, why don't I want to have a relationship? Is it really because I don't like the person, or is it because something else is really stopping me from a past, So there's so many layers to it.
And I think it's really important that you use the word it's a tool, because, for everyone listening and watching, there are so many different tools out there that you can work with to heal. Whether that's, if you're drawn to go to the medical profession to do that, then
absolutely, like it's amazing. And there's such a place for that, and there's such a place for Western medicine, but it's like, well, amazing, what if we could really get it working together? And I've got to say, respect to, I had a recent experience. I haven't shared too much on it, but that when I was in that situation with some medical professionals, they were absolutely amazing, respecting my spiritual beliefs and my personal beliefs, and it made such a difference in hindsight. It could have been a lot worse than what I did experience. It was traumatic enough for me, but the way the professionals handled it was incredible. And that's where I could see this could be amazing if we could really respect. What if we could respect the medicine? What if we could respect, all this knowledge that we've got with science and antivenoms, and then work with the medicine of the people and the land. And that's kind of my utopian world. Why can't it work in symbiosis? Why does it have to be one against the other? It doesn't.
And what I
have working together.
And what one soul needs may not be what the other soul needs, right? So, and here's the thing, this is where, my work around working with intuition and, teaching people to tap into that, it's tap into your own knowing. tap into
Yeah.
what feels right for you, right? And
Yeah.
look at all the different tools and opportunities and people that you have around you.
Yeah.
Or, go to the soul and ask it, what do you
Yeah.
need? And
Yeah.
show, like you said, show me the way.
Yeah.
And
And
that's one
also,
of my key things. Just show me the way.
yeah, and also respect, just because I don't agree with putting this in my body or this situation, I want natural, and that doesn't mean that someone else doesn't need, someone with diabetes, for example, or
Yeah,
situation. So who are we to judge?
exactly.
Hey, you know what? Oh, well, that's not okay because I don't agree. No, actually, your personal opinion is your personal opinion. That's it, your point of view.
Yeah.
You don't get
And
to
it
say
and it
what
may
another
be
person.
what that soul needs in order to feel
Totally.
safe, secure, and
Yeah.
at ease. And if
Yeah.
that's the case, then go for it.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
so I know that we could keep going for hours on all the different topics that you and I understand and awarenesses on.
Did I answer the questions? I don't
Well,
know if I
we
really
we went
answered the
where
question.
we went where we needed to go. and I trust that we go where spirit needs us to go for those who are listening and watching. What I would ask you to do, if you can give 3 small tips um, for people who are interested in or feel like they've had some soul loss
Yeah.
and feel like they would benefit from a soul retrieval. Give me 3 tips or 3 insights.
Well, if they feel that they've had a situation like that, there is a lot of journey work available online. For example, like I've actually got the twin flame, the panther, soul retrieval that I recorded a journey. So that's an example. You could go in with the intention, I'm going to go in, I feel like I've lost some energy around this person, I'm going to go do a journey on that. So you could use meditations and some of the materials that are already created from different people, and I can recommend people, or we can send people the twin flame panther one if they need to just get an experience. So that's one thing you can do. You can actually set the sacred space yourself, have the intention, do the process, and then just see what happens and let it integrate. So that's one thing they can do. Another thing would actually be taking physical steps to pull the power back. So I haven't been the best with money. I've been pretty useless previously. I had accounts with my super everywhere. I had money here and there. And I've gone, I really need to pull my energy back on that. I need to do like a soul retrieval physical with money. Right. I need to call these companies and get my money back. And actually, no, you need to transfer it into this account. So you can actually take physical actions in the 3D world to just get your power back. You know what? If your bank is charging you this amount for this, change your bank. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear on here, but you can take actions. If someone is putting energy in your space and you feel actually deflated or demoralized by having put boundaries in place, because we can actually have soul loss from physical interactions as well, and emotionally abusive situations. So better boundaries, physically taking action in the real world around money, relationships, and it might be someone who's lost custody of their kids. Well, did you actually fight for it? Did you put in that you wanted custody? You might actually need to take physical steps to get that back, and that in itself can be a very healing process. And then of course there's the energetic, the journey work as well, right? So they're probably the 3 big things that you could do that they're not real, they're not woo woo, they're not, you don't have to go do all this like you don't. It might just be, I'm just going to change my bank. I'm going to make some calls. I'm going to send a few letters out to the police or to this. I'm going to protest against that fine. I'm going to stand up for my rights. Actually, that's breaking the law here. I'm going to actually put in against that. And I'm going to lodge an official complaint. And it might be even a business person that's accepted your money, and you've had a terrible service. And you go, how am I paying? I'm actually going to call up the ombudsman and put in a complaint against that person.
And so funny that I've done just exactly that. So
I forgot. Yeah, you had that happen.
Just kind of sharing with everyone, and talking about money in particular. I had, and it is past because I go back there, right? I had been told that by lots of people in my life that I was bad with money. you're really bad with money. You're really terrible with
Great
money.
story.
And I'm like,
Forcing,
okay. And so, you know, what did I create? I was bad with money. I couldn't manage my money. I didn't know how to manage my money. But actually, I just put my hand up at one point and went, you know what? I've never actually been taught how to manage money. It was just assumed that I would know, right? So I actually took a step back, did some healing work around money. And exactly like you're saying, I called my energy back, right? Because when we put money out, we're putting energy out.
Totally, absolutely.
Really,
it's all energy.
And it's really looking at where I'm putting my money. Is this feeling loving and kind and all of that? Or is it feeling heavy and like I'm being controlled or whatever it might be, right? And then calling that back in, empowering myself with the knowledge. And I did some research, and I did some research upstairs as well, and got drawn to people who could help me around learning how to deal with money, right? And, you know, now I teach others about how to shift and change their money story.
But it's brilliant. It's brilliant, right? Because it's not just about, well, where is my money? Where is it going? I actually don't agree with my money going there. So you know what? I'm going to call that back in. Like for now, even in this situation, I've made a commitment. I'm only going to spend money with people that I love. I'm only going to spend money as much as I can. It's not always possible. I'm going to spend money with businesses that I'm passionate about. I'm going to spend money with people that I know are in integrity. I'm going to spend money on clothes that are recycled or reused, or I know have come from a sustainable source. Because my money, I don't want my money going to something that might be slave labor or I don't agree with, or it's, you know, and because that's also, you know, the money can, it's like a leak, an energy leak.
It is.
So
it is. And it's a loss, like soul loss, right?
Totally. And so that's, I don't want my money going somewhere that's I don't agree with. No, I'm going to send it here. I know these guys have done the right thing. I might pay a little bit more, but I know that's going to support this person. I believe in their work. And so it's actually changing on so many levels. Like even now, I got an eco toothbrush. I've got bamboo. I've got, you know, it's more empowerment with what I'm putting into my body and the foods. So it goes across those things, because it could be even, you know, drinking water that isn't pure water, you know, and then we can experience energy out that way. Oh, what can I do about it? Well, actually, you can get a filter on your water tap, or you can, you know, you can drink out of glass bottles, whatever it is. You don't have to keep playing that game.
No.
It's identifying where am I giving away my power? Where have I given away my power? What can I do right now in this moment to actually start feeling more empowered? And that's what it's about. The soul retrievals are about being empowered, feeling solid, and what, there's certain things you can control, there's certain things you can't. But right now, in this environment, in my immediate environment, what do I have control over? I have control over what goes into my body. I have control over my mind. I have control over what I listen to and what I don't want to see and I don't want to hear. And that's actually not care for me. I'm going to go out to the beach, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to be surrounded by nature, and I'm going to be so grateful for that. And that's my reality, right? And does that mean it's everyone else's reality? No. So respect everyone's journey, but what do you have contained? What is your sacred container? And that's your physical, mental space, emotional space.
And we could talk about everything for so much longer, so I'm going to stop that there and say, can you please tell everybody, Claire, how they can connect with you if they'd like more information about the soul retrieval work that you're doing, or to book in for a session with you?
Yeah, well, the best probably just through my Facebook or through my website. So my website's just www.clairelkelly.com. Facebook, you can find me under Claswing, or I'll probably be up on your page, I suppose, when you put the interview up. And Instagram as well. So I've got my Claire_L_Kelly on there. You can find me through any of those, but the website's probably best. I am going to be putting up a lot more about the soul retrievals, just because the Spirit has shown me how important it is for people right now. So I will be putting up a few different examples and even some situations for people to connect with, of maybe why they might need a soul retrieval and how it can help them. And I'll put some links up for the journeys if they want to just test it out first and see if it's not a fit for everyone. And you have to be ready for a change and for a shift, but that's exactly what's happening right now. and I'm
Yeah.
excited about it. It's pretty big work, and so there's a lot of preparation involved my end, and also the person might have things coming up even before a session, but that's also part of the clearing, the transformation. So yeah, but that's the best way. So
awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom, and for supporting other people so much on their journey at the moment.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Pleasure.
Grateful to be here.
Yeah, pleasure. And for those of you who'd like to connect with me further, you can do so through Facebook, Leanne the Barefoot Medium, YouTube, Leanne the Barefoot Medium, and the same on SoundCloud, or Instagram, the Barefoot Medium, and also jump on to my website, thebarefootmedium.com.au. If you've enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to support us and the show by subscribing and following, leaving us a comment about what you found valuable and how it helped, and then sharing it with your friends, family, and other networks, whoever it is you feel drawn to. I'm Leanne, the Barefoot Medium. It's been an absolute pleasure having you join us for the show today and to share wisdom for your journey, clarity that might help you on your path, and to support you in manifesting your dreams. Wherever you are in the world, whoever you are surrounded with, please know that you are always connected on a soul level, and I wish you health, well-being, love and joy, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Barefoot TV and podcast show.